Hello, welcome to the Balanced Body Podcast. I'm Lindy Royer, physical therapist, founder and director of Park Meadows Pilates and Physical Therapy in Lone Tree, Colorado, and Balanced Body faculty member. I'm here today with my friend Mary, and Mary's going to help us give you some modifications for wrist issues. We encounter this all the time in Pilates, and Pilates is one of those regimes, disciplines where we do quite a bit of weight bearing through the arms, not something that we do a lot in everyday life. So overcoming wrist issues is really important so that we can perform quadruped or even more advanced weight bearing exercises through the arms without causing pain or discomfort in the wrists. A lot of these modifications are also going to be appropriate for your clients or students who have elbow issues. So Mary, can you come up into an all fours position here? Thank you. And so, as we know, we're looking for a neutral or optimal spine position when we're in quadruped, with the knees directly underneath the hips and the wrists, the back of the wrists or the heel of the hand directly underneath the shoulders. One of the things that happens in this position, and thank you, Mary, that was beautiful. One of the things that happens in this position is that without shoulder girdle support and without the support of the core, we tend to just let everything sink into the wrists. So can you just let everything go and just allow yourself, exactly. So what Mary just did was she just let everything kind of sink into her wrists, and she's probably right now feeling quite a bit more wrist compression than she was. So one of the ways that we can avoid this is just to give the image of lifting the sternum just behind the sternum up toward the ceiling, and also imagining that we are lifted or supported by some kind of a sling or a hammock between the rib cage and the pelvis. This is going to allow the core and the shoulder girdle to bring a little bit more lift, if you will, off the wrists and the hands. Mary's gaze is going to go just to the front of the fingertips. So if you will just nod your head a little bit. So by aligning the head, we're also allowing a little more distribution into the shoulder girdle without too much cervical extension. So Mary's able to accomplish this, but many of our clients are not able to get to this position without still experiencing wrist compression. So we're going to use a couple of props to see if we can further decompress the wrist. So Mary, I'm going to grab a couple of half foam rollers here. So these are just simple half foam rollers, and if we bring Mary's fingertips as far forward as possible, you can see that that tends to open up the back of the wrist a little bit. This also brings her shoulder girdle a little bit higher. So this is one thing that you'll have to work with your clients, because now you'll notice the head and the shoulder girdle are a little bit higher than the pelvis, similar to what we might experience on the reformer when using the foot bar. Mary, I'm going to change this out, and we're going to use a yoga pad. So this is a little yoga wedge that also can be used to open out the wrists. So again, we're looking for props, and you can use things like rolled up towels. You can also use other kinds of wedges. So you can find other things than the props that I'm showing you, but these props tend to work really well, and we've been using them in the studio for quite a few years. So again, you can see that she's opening up the wrist. Now, one of the things that you might find with using the yoga wedge is that that extension of the fingertips may cause too much of a stretch response or discomfort in the forearm. So this is one to also use with caution, but just know that it is an option. Thank you. So next, we're going to pull out the big guns. Mary is going to rest her forearms on top of the box. So if you're not able to align your client comfortably using the hands down on support, putting the forearms on a box is a great option. At home, they can use something like an ottoman or a firm table. And notice here that Mary's now able to still weight bear through her upper extremities. However, she's not taking any weight into her wrists. We're still going to allow her that lovely sense of lifting from behind the sternum, length through the spine, and support through the lower abdominals. So Mary, from here, can you slide one leg back for me? And then lift it up and lower it down and bring it in. Good. And then slide the other leg back. And so you can see that we're able to do just our basic quadruped very comfortably without having any wrist compression. I'm going to show you one more option, which is a little bit more of a stability challenge, and that's using an egg, similar to a ball. So this is an egg shape. What's nice about the egg is it doesn't challenge stability quite as much laterally as the ball does, but still is giving Mary quite a challenge in terms of maintaining her support in this position on her forearms. So for your more advanced students, this is a really nice option, either using an egg or a ball, because they're going to get a nice stability challenge while still avoiding wrist compression. Next, we're going to have a look at some modifications using the reformer and some things that we can do with the foot bar. So here we have Mary in a quadruped position. We have the infinity bar, and she's set up for reverse abdominals. This is an exercise that we traditionally do with the hands down on the frame, but since we're avoiding wrist compression, this is perfectly fine to do using the infinity bar. If you don't have one of these wonderful infinity bars, you can simply put a box across the frame of the reformer and then rest the forearms on the box. But I find this to be a much more successful application if you have an infinity foot bar. So we have Mary back in her ideal spine alignment. She's supported through her center. She's wide and supported across the shoulder girdle. So as you inhale, just give yourself a little bit of a lift there and allow the crown of the head to lengthen. Very nice. Good. And then she's going to be moving from the hip joint. So I like to just give a reminder of where those hip creases are in the front. And Mary, if you could take a breath in. And then as you exhale, can you pull your knees toward the foot bar? And then inhale as you send your knees away. Good. And exhale as you pull in. And inhale as you slowly return. Good. So we're looking for maintaining the alignment in the head, neck, and shoulders. Good. And see if you can just, that's it, perfect, right there, don't go any further. And back, good, and one more right there, good, and back. Now we'll have a look at foot bar at the traditional end of the reformer for a couple of more modifications. So here we are at the other end of the reformer. So we're going to do kneeling abdominals facing front from this position. And again, Mary is just supporting herself on her forearms, back in the same position that she was facing the back of the reformer. Now, of course, the resistance is in the reverse direction. So Mary, as you inhale, can you just get a little wider through the collarbones? And then as you exhale, feel that nice support through the pelvis, and then press the knees back. Okay. Yep. Good. And then as you inhale, crease at the hips and pull the knees back in. Good. So hip joint is the focus of this exercise, just at the other end. It's just that we have the resistance in the opposite direction. We could also add some shoulder movement here, but I'm going to save that to show you one more modification. So are you able to bring your knees back in, Mary? And if you wouldn't mind, just sit back toward your heels. And I'm going to lower the foot bar all the way down and slide it in. So we're now in the no bar or zero position, and Mary's going to come back into her regular all fours position. So now we're in the standard kneeling abdominals position, but because we have the foot bar all the way down, Mary's actually able to open up her wrist in this position, which for most people is enough decompression to give quite a bit of comfort to the wrist. If she were to move her hands back onto the platform, she'd be back in a great deal of extension, which would cause more wrist compression. So the foot bar in this position is a great way to open the wrist, decompressing. Also notice she's got a little bit of a natural grip with her thumb right next to her index finger, which is a great position for the hands. And Mary, you're going to just repeat the same exercise. Exhale as you take the knees back. Now, can you maintain them there and then press back from the shoulders? So she's going to press the whole thing back from the shoulders. Yeah, there we go. Then bring the knees in underneath you, and then bring the shoulders back over the hands. How's that on your wrists?
Okay.
Good. Let's do one more. So we're going to take the knees back. Then we're going to take the shoulders back, maintaining that lovely width. We're going to bring the knees back in and the shoulders back over the hands. So quite a few modifications for wrist issues, potentially for also elbow issues. Thank you very much, Mary.
I'm done.
And thank you for watching.